Hello, everyone. My name is Frank Anthony, and welcome back to Let Me Be Frank, episode 52. I cannot believe we have surpassed 50 episodes already. It's crazy. It's been a little bit less than a year. I want to say the beginning of May. It's going to be the show's 1 year anniversary. It's crazy how fast time goes by, and the pandemic's still not over, unfortunately. But let's get on to today's phone a friend. It's going to be my new friend, Pamela from It's Miller Time. It's her show on YouTube, and we connected through Instagram. She is so funny. We go into a lot of different topics. We talk about weed for a little bit. We talk about her show, of course, advertising that a little bit. I've watched a little bit of her show, and I like her. I like her energy. I like her personality, pretty much her like no fucks given. She had no problem swearing. That's always great, which I guess that's a warning about that it'll be explicit in that sense language. Actually, just reminded me, I definitely wanted to give a trigger warning to anyone who has experienced sexual assault, because there will be a personal story shared with that. So if you have experienced that yourself and that may be triggering, that is towards the end of the episode after, I want to say 35, 40 minutes. So I wanted to give a proper warning for that. We're going to just go right into the episode now. I hope you guys enjoy. All right. Hey, Pamela, how's it going?
It's going very well. How's it going with you?
It's good. We made it.
We made it. And, but it was all good. I never sweat the small shit because it actually done a positive. I got to make a Bloody Mary, a very weak one, because my daughters text me like, "Hey, you want to go to the gym?" And I'm like, "Oh, not really." But, when your kids want to hang with you, you gotta go fucking hang with them. So
I'll say, yeah, you don't want to fall off the elliptical or anything.
Yeah, no, not at all.
Yeah, so let's get into some of the questions.
Yeah, let's go.
This first question I usually like to ask all the guests: if you were a novel, what would the back of your book say?
And I'm going to tell you that I really appreciated that question. I really had to I told her, I didn't tell everyone, my family, and my husband was like,
everyone.
He was even intrigued. He was like, huh. He's like, well, what does the back of a book say? I'm like, well, I know, but anyway, that's another story for another time. And I am actually trying to write a book for many years, but I'm on it now. I'm on it.
Same.
My book, yeah, I am on it. So the back of my book says, quote, in swallowing hard, life and bitter ass pills, Pamela Miller chronicles her life lessons of people, self-worth with an immense amount of courage and optimism, and a whole lot of F-bombs, salty margaritas, and grace. Never change who you are, ever. Because that's been a tough lesson to learn. And we'll delve into that. But, I pretty much raised myself, which I was bitter about for a lot of years. But now that I've gotten older, not even in my 50s, it's early on, what a blessing it had been, that I could have turned out a lot worse. I don't know, I don't know how to really word it, but I did okay,
I was gonna say, yeah, we're still alive, we're still kicking.
Yeah, I'm still here. Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome. That was an awesome blurb, and I feel like I can already tell, just from talking to you face to face just for a little bit, I can already tell some of that personality. So that's
it's funny. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, Joe.
Oh no, I was good. You're good.
It's funny because my husband and I, so it made my husband think. It also made my daughter think. I'm sharing this with my kids, and I told my son, and so my husband's like, oh, so what's it going to say? Thrilling, suspenseful, I forget what, a little stupid. I shouldn't say stupid, but a little because I live way out in the country. I I call it with the hillbillies and the muskrats, but they have like a little like newsletter. It might be like the LAC muskrat. I don't know. You know, be like, oh, muskrat times or something.
That's your town as a newsletter?
Oh, yeah, yeah. And how phenomenal is that still? Like there's only like, well, there's only 5 houses on the block that I live in
Wow.
or live on. And only 3 of them are actually vacated or occupied, or not unless you count the Hancock House, which is a historical home. And there was a
Okay.
huge massacre back in like, I don't know, 1700s there. So I could be occupied. I don't know.
Uh,
Who am I to question us?
I
Bring the
I don't
signs on.
I probably personally wouldn't. I've seen too many movies where that could
Yeah.
go south. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know.
So
Never know.
you did mention a little bit about podcasting. So tell me a little bit
Yeah.
about your podcasting journey so far.
Well, I keep saying I'm getting started, but it's been a while, but it's been positive for the most part. I was actually surprised like how many people actually listen to me on YouTube
Yeah.
and stuff. And I got positive messages back from a lot of my friends as well, because like long friends that I'm Facebook friends with, and they're like, oh, hey, we're so glad that you finally but yeah, it's all been good. It's had its bumps and trials. I'm learning, but all good for the most part. I haven't had any negativity yet, but that's what I was.
Well, I mean, that's good.
Yeah,
Usually
yeah,
it took me a while to get any negativity. And then once I started getting
yeah,
it, instead of getting discouraged,
yeah,
I was like, you know what? I guess that means I'm doing something right. Maybe it's picking up.
yeah, yeah. You're just like stoke the fire, man. You're like fueling that shit. Yeah. So, and I can't really, I mean, there's a lot that I can discuss. I mean, I can always be myself, but like,
Yeah.
I don't really delve into politics or anything like that. But just because I work for an international law firm, I can't like,
Yeah.
we're very diverse. We're very open to everything. And we have a lot of people and we respect them all. So, but the podcasting thing, yeah, I think once I actually have just started, like, I mean, I've been like firing off PDFs to my daughter, like, read this part of my book, which is it's going to be like, I hate to say it, a lot like a Star Wars movie. Like, chapter one's really going to be like, oh, episode 36, because
Okay.
I just don't think like that. Um, and that's just, and it's not, and I thought maybe it's because of my age, but my daughter, she says she's the same way. Our thought our processes. Now she can edit the stuff. She can edit the crap out of anything. Like she mixes stuff, and, she's a music education graduate, but,
Okay.
but for her personally to, I don't know, put it in some type of human Rolodex, like, all right, let's go back to like 1965. It's I started thinking last night actually when I was it's really weird, like just random, like, there's like parts of your life that you will remember as you get older, and then there's parts of your life, I mean, there's parts of your life that you remember with like true clarity, and you can smell it and hear it and see it. And like there's other portions of your life that are just missing like decades. And I'm not talking about like the cocaine years or LSD or anything like that. I'm just saying in general. And it's like made me think like, could it be like, are we designed like that? Perhaps we're not expected to remember those portions of our life because um or fragments of our life or whatever it may be, because it's not conducive to us going forward. Like, I know that's a lot. I know it sounds crazy, but
No, I kind of,
I
yeah.
don't,
I
I
was
don't
like,
know,
I think you could be right. about that.
Yeah.
There's certain memories that I've, for some reason, they don't seem really important, but they've carried with me for so many years.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
when you share certain memories with other people, they're going to remember
Yeah.
certain things and you're going to remember certain things. And it's kind of, yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah. It's weird. I don't know. Or I could just be having an acid flashback. I don't know, but it's just something that I've thought about lately. Like, I don't know. It's just, and I think like as you get older, you mourn certain portions of your life. So for me, part of like tying back into the podcast, this isn't really necessarily for me to like, in any way, shape, or form. Like, look, a lot of people have the same stories I do, especially when it comes to domestic violence and being diagnosed with ADD later on in your life, and so forth. But at any rate, you know, sometimes when you actually are faced with just yourself and a microphone and all these things that you're thinking, it's a mental therapy for me to.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is because look, I could tell you I'm very shy and introverted, and people would be like, "What? Get the fuck out of here, you big mouth!" What? But this platform allows me to be myself, and I don't want to say without judgment. Like I could really give a shit about judgment, whatever. You don't like it, just scroll it, shut it off. But yeah.
But I was curious because I was starting to watch your YouTube a little bit. I was curious, like, what with your podcast and with your YouTube episodes and stuff, is
Yeah.
there like a certain theme behind it? Like, what is your show about?
Well, that's crazy because as yourself, I mean, you're very more obviously way more educated than I am about this kind of stuff. But I think that a lot of it's trial and error. But then I think when you start thinking about stuff like your title, you're this and that and this and that and the other, you start delving into like a different portion of yourself. Like at first, I was very generic. Um, and to be honest with you, originally my podcast was called like Park and Garage Confessions because what I would do for the most part, because I am a loner, I love people, but I'm like, I'm in and then I'm out. I'm like a fucking double Dutch jump roping, I spin a little and then I'm out because it's true though, because I just get so like peopled out, and it's not people that I necessarily don't love. I love them all.
Yeah.
But sometimes I just gotta I have to regroup, rejuice the soul. I would sit on lunch after I couldn't walk down on the Brandywine, the beautiful creek that I work outside of that's just outside of the city because of COVID and craziness and things not being safe and Biden in town and his entourage. And that's not a political, I don't mean that in a derogatory way, but with that, you know, brought a lot of other exterior shit that we really didn't need. But it made me think a lot, like, and then it was like kind of like, all right, you can't do this shit out in the fucking parking garage anymore. I mean, you're gonna get fucking shot. But yeah, then I just made it more personal. I just said, hey, it's Miller time. My podcast really is about like originally way back in the day, my daughter said, Mom, you should name your book Now That I'm in My 50s. This is what I know. Blah. Because as a woman specifically, there's a lot that I shouldn't have like stressed myself over, like body image, getting older, turning, you know what? I did not come into my primes until I was in my like, well, after I had babies, late 30s, mid 40s. I was friggin' lit, man. I must have like bloomed late. And like, I looked back with such confidence within myself, not like, oh, I'm beautiful now or anything like, but that inner confidence, that soul,
Yeah, not a cockiness.
Yes, not a cockiness. Like now, oh my God, like that one last piece of that puzzle, like went in, and I'm like, oh, like fucking Iron Man. I'm like, fucking, I'm whole. Like, why did I stress about this stuff? And you know, a lot of it could be childhood traumas, a lot of stuff we
Okay.
don't know. You know what I'm saying? But women in general are just put under so much pressure, so I'm here to like pretty much say like, hey, it'll be okay. I just got to talk about my shit a little bit, because maybe if you went through your shit, maybe you can relate to me.
Oh,
And
definitely.
then we're going to get into, you know, I have some interviews myself. Like I've reached out to people lined up as well. So,
Awesome.
yeah. So, because I have friends, you know, that they've been through some shit, man. And I have some friends that have some good positive, even if they've been through some shit. That's what made them, you know, the beast they are today. But yeah, yeah, you just, yeah, I be yourself. Exactly what the back of the book says.
Yeah.
Never, ever, ever. And
I,
don't let your children be anything other than themselves, too.
that's a
You
good,
know,
yeah. That's definitely a good
yeah,
piece of advice. And yeah,
ever.
I think a lot of people with feeling like they're blooming later, maybe learning certain lessons in life later. I think that does
Yeah,
happen to a lot of us. And yeah, I struggled
yeah,
with a lot of body issues years ago.
yeah,
And it's like you want to kind of look back at your past self and be like, why were you thinking this way for so long
yeah,
and stuff? But yeah, we have to, keep experiencing and yeah, keep
yeah.
learning.
I remember hiding like this and that, and you know, things buttoned up. I mean, I still do, but things buttoned up to here and there, and yeah. No women, you rock your shit. Stop judging people's fucking whatever they put on social media. Stop fucking judging them. Let them be them. Look, you want to put your boobs and stuff up on Instagram or Facebook? I'll look at them. You want to pose in a bikini? I'll look at you. No judgment free zone. Let
Yeah.
people do what they want to do. Well, you know, if you want to be basic, be basic. Take a picture of your friggin' drinks, your cocktails, your food, whatever. Do you know what I'm saying? Let people be them.
Oh, I
Let
love it.
them be them.
It's
You
okay.
know?
It's okay to be basic too. So yeah, you would, and we obviously talked about it a little bit here. We kind of glanced
Yeah.
over it. You told me that you were diagnosed with ADD at age 55.
Yeah.
Did
Yeah.
did that change your life in any way or provide any clarity and why did you
Yeah.
feel that it took so long to be diagnosed?
Well, I think first of all, because I am a product of the, you know, mid 60s. Like when I was a child, that would have been, well, let's just say 70. I would have been 5, you know. You know, there wasn't that knowledge, you know, back then. Well, you got ass whoopings, but I'm just kidding. You millennials, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. There wasn't the knowledge back then of whatever bad behavior, and I was by means not a bad child growing up, um, but there wasn't a diagnosis for mental behaviors, not as much, which I think is a little bit over extenuated, which, you know, big pharma just wants to tap into us, make us think we're all crazy, go smoke some pot. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Not really, but not really. Yeah. Yeah. Um, I don't know, you know, I don't know. So this is the thing that happens to me with ADD. Sometimes you get so much information. So this is what happened is I have so much information here that I can't get it out here verbally, and I can't process it. So, and I don't mean this in a derogatory way, but I have like a Rain Man moment. Like I freeze
Okay.
up. Now, jumping back a little bit, when I was younger, I was on medication for something. Now, I was told that that medication was given to me to make me eat. But in hindsight, now that I've been diagnosed, you know, I can't blame it on my parents or anything like that. They overlooked it, but they were just listening to their doctor, and we got ass whoopings. You know what I'm saying? But I think that when I look back now, they were giving me medication to make because I was so thin. Like I was like 85 pounds when I graduated high school, you know, 90. So what? And I was, 5 foot, 5'1", whatever. I think they were giving me the medication to make me eat because I had so much energy that they thought I wasn't eating.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, and I'm like, no, I didn't. I did put the Brussels sprouts up underneath the thing because I didn't want to fight. I didn't fucking like them this time. But I was eating. But yeah, so I think that it was just a misdiagnosis of just because of the lack of knowledge, then the lack of the medicines or whatever, the psychological, the mental thing. So when I was going to my other doctor, because I do have, I was said, hey, I have anxiety. And they're like, all right, let's put you on. That was like way back in the, when Prozac was like, the big drug.
Yeah.
So let me put you on Prozac, do this, that, and the other, and keep treating your anxiety. And I was kind of getting to the point where like I just didn't feel any better, which seems kind of ironic because now they're like, oh, if your antidepressant isn't working, here, use an additional one.
Yeah.
Get the fuck out of here. We don't need your shit. Why can't you just make a pill that works? But I bet you there's 2 pills are made by the same pharmaceutical company. Fix the other, Hey, we're gonna wreck you this way, but we're gonna give you a band-aid that way.
I was say, yeah, it could definitely, that could probably be a whole episode at least.
Oh
Like, it's a
yeah.
mess.
So my old doctor was just like, okay, well, let's give you this, let's give you that. And a whole long story short, I'm like, I'm still not feeling any better. And then certain things just were happening there. Not that the doctor was bad. It was pretty much staff things. So that changed the, trajectory of like where I'm going. So I went to this other doctor and I said, look, I just laid it out. I said, look, he knows I smoke pot too. I don't really want to smoke it. I can't wait till like it's really like legal in New Jersey. And I mean, I can go to a dispensary, but they don't have like edibles or anything like that.
Gotcha.
Not where I'm at in New Jersey. It's very small farm towns. But yeah, I just want to be able to buy something and medicate myself with a gummy. So I went to him and I said, look, I feel like this. I know I'm in my 50s. I know ladies go through changes with their hormones and this and that and the other. And, part of the side effects is like losing your fucking mind. Like you're like, oh my God, put the fucking whatever, cinnamon in the refrigerator, just dumb stuff. Yeah. So I'm like, I'm not high 24. Like I said before, joking around earlier before we came on, I'm like, I know I'm not high 24/7, but and I said, and he told me, asked me, what is your anxiety like? I'm like, I don't know. I'm just like, I get fearful that I'm going to lose people around me, which is probably like abandonment issues, but this and that and the other. And I have OCD and I'm not controlling. I don't want to control people, but I try to always control my environment around me. Like I'm always reorganizing shit. It's just weird. It's just weird. I'm clean. I clean stuff. And then I said, my kids said, yeah, mom, like if we had known better, you have like fucking ADHD. Well, they didn't say the F word. I said that, but and I'm like, oh, yeah. And I said, I said that to the doctor. And he's like, yeah. He goes, well, it could be a little bit of everything. He goes, see, the ADHD causes the anxiety. It causes all the exterior. It's kind of like throwing a rock into a lake or a creek or whatever. And you have like, or in California, earthquakes, you get that ripple effect. It's just plunk, but then all the exterior things suffer. I don't want to say suffer, but for the lack of a better word, are affected by this certain behavior, So, yeah, life changer, Adderall, everybody's like, oh my gosh, you're gonna get so skinny. I'm like, no, that was just for the housewives in the 80s and the 90s when they were tapping into their kids' medicine. If you really need it, you're not gonna be like rocking your like, summer body. 2021.
We could probably, go right into, because we've talked a lot about weed and
Yeah.
everything and marijuana and stuff
Yeah.
and legalizing it. I live in Massachusetts, so it's
Yeah.
legal now, and it's
Yeah.
weird
I didn't
because
know that.
yeah, it's
Yeah,
weird
I didn't
because
know.
because when it does become legal in your area, you don't even really think twice about all
Yeah.
the other states and how it
Yeah.
might not be, or it might only be in certain doses. Yeah, like
Yeah.
it's completely legal here now,
Yeah.
so I don't even think twice anymore. Like people are just doing it everywhere. Gummies are thrown everywhere.
Really?
Yeah.
And like, are you allowed to walk down the street and smoke pot? Or is that like alcohol? You got to just keep that inside.
I want to say as long as you're not driving, it's not a big issue
Oh, wow.
type thing.
Interesting.
Because
Yeah.
definitely like gummies and stuff are good. I mean, there's even freaking pet treats with the with the
I,
oil.
oh, really?
Yeah,
Well,
like they're pushing it now.
yeah, yeah. It's not going to be here. I was the only thing. Look, again, I'm not being political, but I mean, I'm going to say like I did vote for other things. But on that New Jersey ballot, I flipped that motherfucker over. Do you want? Yes, give me all your weed.
Uh,
Flipped it back over, like no, no, no. But I'm just kidding. But yeah, it hasn't. So we do have the dispensaries. Uh,
okay, yeah.
so I finally, what I did is I finally got my card because I was put on Adderall, and which was a life changer. I mean, and then I was put on like a supplement to take. And I'm like, all right, mother. Then the thing is that I could, and I do take the supplement every once in a while, in the afternoon, just like it's a low dose that doesn't stay with you, so you're not up all night. But then I was like, and I always smoked pot. I mean, I didn't smoke it. I didn't smoke it like I do now, and I obviously didn't smoke it when kids were small or like in the house smoking or anything like that. This I just started smoking pot again, like in my 50s. I don't know. I just felt that when I do a certain strain of weed, it instead of having to take more Adderall or anything like that, it just balances me out. It takes that anxiety out of for sleeping indica. I just that's why would I want to take an Ambien? That's the other thing. Like here, take an Ambien, and I don't drink that much alcohol as much as people probably think I do drink. I really don't because my husband's dry. Like he doesn't really drink that much anymore because he's an athlete. I just like to look cool. Just kidding. I do like to go out for happy hour and stuff like that. But I don't drink, but I do find that if I drink sometimes like that, it even interferes with my sleep now. So, they're like, oh, here's Ambien. My husband has had repeated back surgeries. So he has like a briefcase full of like oxycodines. And trust me, I have tried those. I've had them after I had like, organs taken out of me for, cancer stuff. So, and Percocets and stuff. And I don't know, you know, anything that's not going to let you poop, it's probably not good for you. I'm just kidding. Who wants to feel like that?
Yeah, and that, and I get worried about that stuff too, because I guess, depending on the person, those could get
Yeah,
really addicting and go down that
yeah,
road. And
yeah. So I've had friends that opted, like that never smoked pot ever, ever in their lives,
yeah.
uh, and started doing so. Like they'd like, oh, hey, I got a shoulder surgery, and didn't want to be put on that because either they want to feel like that or maybe they were fearful. I don't know, and started using weed as a remedy. Um,
Okay.
I'm going to tell you what really for me was a big shocker, and I always preach like, don't judge a book by its cover and blah, blah, blah. We do. Just don't be hurtful or malicious about it. But like when I went to my first visit to the New Jersey dispensary, like I anticipated, like, I don't know what I anticipated. I didn't anticipate like a bunch of stoners or
Yeah.
like long haired hippies or the dregs of humanity. I don't know, but this is what it was. A line of older people, older than me, like probably in their 60s, 70s, mom-moms and pop-pops there, that are just mom-moms and pop-pops. I don't want to say like they're just normal people, because what's normal these days, but they're just mom-moms and pop. Like there were so many. I was shocked to see how many people actually utilize weed for medicinal purposes. Crazy, And then I saw one of the retired cops that I know. He's like a security officer there.
Oh, that's
Hey,
funny.
what's up? I mean, they knew anyway. I mean, they knew anyway, but like, hey, yo, peace up. What's up, man? But I was shocked to see how much, this is why it really opened my eyes, is that this made me realize how many people actually do need to have it for medicinal purposes. I'm all for the recreational thing. Look, because some people would rather not drink alcohol because maybe they are an alcoholic, but they want to, I don't know, eat like, I don't know, a lollipop or whatever they have in these stores, a candy bar, to take that edge off, or to utilize for sleep and stuff like that instead of Ambien. That opened up my eyes, I was like, wow, there's like I almost felt like the youngest person there, and I just low key really wanted to get the card to like just be protected because it did help me so much, it is kind of expensive there too, but now it's going to be legal. So,
Yeah.
Legal for recreational use. I just hope that, you know, I just hope there's a lot of positive. I hope the stigma goes away with a lot of that,
I think it is. I know growing
Yeah.
up for me, there was such a strong stigma against it
Yeah.
and just all these negative consequences. It was gonna lead you to meth
Yeah.
and and stuff and
Yeah.
if you did it, and just these,
Yeah.
just some information and stuff. So I think
Yeah.
at least in my state, it definitely people just I mean, obviously
Yeah.
people get angry. I'm, one,
Yeah.
like I'm living in Massachusetts, the mass holes they call
Yeah.
them.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
people but people definitely do seem a little bit calmer, and that stigma, I definitely think that whole stigma is
Yeah.
going away. It's just
Yeah.
becoming more and more
Yeah.
acceptable to society.
Yeah. And maybe that's what it is. Maybe that one portion of it, because look, it's so crazy. And I don't even know how I stumbled upon this, but I stumbled upon ads for, I had a joke about Virginia Slim menthol lights because my one girlfriend smoked those. And every time we'd be out, obviously a lot younger, and we'd be high, this bitch were like, oh, can you go in and just get me a pack of like, whatever, supercalifragilistic. And I'm like, what? Who tells you? Go get your own shit, man. But so the ads, I didn't then realize that those cigarettes were made for a woman and marketed towards a woman. And how
Mm,
fucking smart was that? Like they referred to the regular cigarettes like Marlboros or whatever, as the fat cigarettes. We made these slender cigarettes to fit into your slender hands, and I was like, wow. And then because I do have such an intrigue with like the 70s and 80s, like I love mid century modern furniture. Like I just love it. That's what I grew up on. I don't know if that's why, but I just love it because there's simplicity.
yeah.
It's loud and it's bold, but there's a simplicity to it. I started looking at all the pictures, and then I'm looking at all the models. I'm like, oh shit, man, there's like fucking Cheryl Teagues. There's like Christy Brinkley. And then, I'm looking at other models. There's Beverly Johnson. I mean, now there's like these women of color. And I'm like, wow, I wonder if anyone, and then the other part of my ADD is like, I wonder if anybody ever noticed, like, we weren't recognizing black models back then in the 60s, like 68, 69. Yeah, maybe it took them longer to get there. And I'm sorry that that has happened. I'm all for, I have a gay son. That doesn't make me think any different than anything else. But I view everything with equality. Like when he came to me, I was like, yeah, whatever. We're not really going over to Jennifer's to borrow a book. I'm going over to pick up a little bit of weed, and then we're going to go home. So I'm just kidding, not completely, but like I never. So I always go and again, Frank, I don't know. Maybe I'm very naive. Maybe I am so kumbaya down in my soul that I just feel like the rest of the world is like works like I do, but they don't. Because I've lost a couple friends of I've lost a couple friends of color just for not necessarily disagreements, but just it was just weird. A whole other story.
I was just gonna say that, yeah, with without getting into those, because I mean, there's a lot of topics about it and stuff,
Yeah.
but I think it was really, I think, yeah, social media is just really messy because of, like the election and Corona and those issues that are very, I don't know. I think they cause a lot of miscommunication and people.
I do too.
Yeah, no, I got a haircut yesterday, and I was just talking with her how because everyone has different beliefs and no one's gonna be 100%, like no one's gonna 100% agree with every single belief you.
No.
So it's like when one belief is different, sometimes some people feel like they just have to completely end a connection or a friendship. And I don't know. I think like we just need to kind of slow down, think for a second, think if it is important enough, or if it's a big enough issue to end, that interpersonal relationship or not. Because I think sometimes we kind of run on our emotions really quickly and just and shit just goes crazy online, especially.
Yeah, that's one thing that not that I do get crazy online, and we might have to swing around and talk about all this in the future, but I'm not on like I only have my podcast on YouTube.
Okay.
I'm not really too much on like Facebook or anything like that anymore. I just have to shut. It's for the same reason. I had to just shut out the noise, turn it off. I can't, and everybody's like, oh, just like unfollow people and stuff if they, but I do like these people. They are my friends. I respect them. I respect their beliefs and whatnot. Yeah, and again, could just be me because mentally I can't. I get clogged too fast. Yeah, I don't know. The world has just gone crazy, and I've learned as an empath not to just shut it all out. Just shut it off. Shut it off. Yeah. Go ahead.
No, I haven't really been going on Facebook myself. I have like Instagram and stuff like that. That's how we connected. But for me, and this is not gonna probably be the most popular opinion out there, but let me be frank here. That I personally, I have friends and I know people with all different types of beliefs.
Yeah.
And for me personally, I like that because some people have been like, why? Like, why do you do that? Why don't you just delete? Like, why don't you just have all the same types of people in your life? And I like to, well, like I have my own beliefs, of course, we all do. But then at the same time, I like when they're challenged sometimes. I like to be open-minded and, always just keep in mind, always try to expand because beliefs can change over time too. So that's just like, that's my take on it, that I always, as long as someone, isn't being extremely violent or like full, like racist type, like that, that I'm not gonna like give too much attention to. But I think, that's just how I do it. And I think unfortunately there's been a lot of miscommunication where it's like you gotta go 100% one way or 100% the other way. When we're just humans, we're so much more complicated.
Yeah. Our molecules don't go one way or the other.
No.
Do you know what I'm saying? And it's funny in a way because my husband and I are completely opposites in a lot of different ways. We're also, alike in a lot of ways. I guess for me, the struggle as a human is I just don't know how you could be one-sided. Because I too, like you say, I too like to challenge. I mean, and that's just how I am. I like to challenge things. I like to color outside the lines. I've colored inside the lines my entire life. I'm done with this crap. I'm doing me. I'm doing me now. And this is how I feel. And but I could learn something from you. I did learn a lot from this past year, even in the darkest of times, about myself as a human, not necessarily my ethnicity, but a little about that as well. But then I've never been subjected to some of the criterias or the situations or stories that people have been in. I've never been involved in those kind of situations.
Yeah.
Even when I moved to California, like what I was saying is like, there's a certain culture that goes, like at my law firm. We're an international law firm. We have a certain culture that we adhere to and respect. So I've just been uncultured in certain ways is what I'm getting at. And I've learned, and that's really been a good lesson for myself, you know. But the struggle was, I just don't, I can't believe I'm going to lose you as a friend because you're doing this the whole time. And then finally I'm like, hey, come on now. And they're like, oh, it's cool, but it's not you, not you, not you. You're different. But really, am I really that different? And yeah, it's tough. It's a tough pill to swallow. Yeah. Yeah.
I think you hit the nail right on the head
Yeah.
where we can always, all of us can always learn something in
Yeah.
general,
Look,
and to be open to it. Because I know once you get, I mean, I was going to say me years ago, but me as a kid, I mean,
yeah.
kids can be this way, or at least I was, where you feel like
Yeah.
you know everything. So you end up not learning as much and you're so closed off because you think you're always right. And
Yeah.
it's not always the case. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that my blessing was is that I was brought up very naive. So I just made up my own shit along the way. I
Yeah.
got lucky enough that knock on wood, it turned out okay. But yeah, it's crazy, you know. I just don't know where where this life is going to go to, but I just have to know that there's promise and there's hope because it's all around us. You just have to open up your eyes and believe in it, you know.
Yeah.
And better days are coming, you know. Shoot, they're opening up New Jersey 50% capacity, I think, in the restaurants now.
Oh,
And yeah, I mean, I'm not in a hurry to get out there. I'm like,
yeah.
but better. The weather's coming, so
Yeah.
yeah, to drink outside, drink outside,
But not
but
walking down the street, depending on
but
where you
not
live.
walking. Yeah, not walking down the street, not here. You know.
Certain
Uh,
states you can.
yeah, yeah. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
we can segue into that question because you did mention that privately, and I know you, if you were comfortable, yeah, sharing with the audience
Yeah.
some of your
Uh,
story with domestic abuse.
yeah. I mean, some of it might be a little dark. Because my kids, I've never even spoken to my husband about this stuff because how do you go to your partner, your wife, your friends, your husband? How do you go to your life partner and say, hey, I'm sorry, I felt this way. I got a little mental for a moment, but I'm dealing with something I've never dealt with in the past because I never mourned it. Like, how do you tell someone that? You don't want to tell someone you've been broken down to like the one molecule that's maybe going in one way,
Yeah.
you know? Because you don't, first of all, and this can be me personally, you don't want someone to feel sorry for you, because that is a part of a past that has brought you as a human to fruition as to where you are today. Where you are today is where you're meant to be. Yes, there is destiny, there's belief, fate, whatever, bad luck, but whatever happens, unfortunately, was meant to be. If you wanted to have changed it, you would have. So I thought I could change them. And I just, like, after 3 years, I I didn't know. I was very, very, very naive. And then, I'd go to parties with this dude. Maybe I'm 20 now, 21. Like, his parents took me to, his mom took me for my 21st birthday to like Las Vegas. Like, his parents were really cool, but they just enabled him. And I understand that, because we all want what's best for our kids, and we think they're going to get better, but he wasn't going to get better. And I don't even know if he's still alive. Like,
Wow.
I speak sometimes about people I feel nothing for, and I feel nothing for him. And that's not really a derogatory thing.
Yeah.
That's extra space now that I have in my head to give to myself, and then now could give to others. But he was very narcissist, very pathological. Yes, there was red flags leading up to it, because verbal things would happen, like, "Oh my God, you're like fat as a pig," and I think I like weighed 110 at the time. Just the verbal things came, and the partying became a little bit more, not typical from anyone else's story. He would not show up for days, which at first I would get upset about, because I figured he was probably cheating on me and stuff like that. But then after a while, here's what I'm talking about, dealing with the humor through tragedy, is taking a tragedy now, like, as it wore on, I'm just kind of like, well, yeah, fuck yeah, I got a place to myself, stay arrested. Like, I know he would get arrested, but then, like, someone bail him out, enablers. But I'm like, yeah, fuck yeah, stay gone. You got to take your tragedies and turn them, of course, at that point, really, honestly, people, you are dark as a human, and you will never know that until you yourself have been put in a dark place.
Yeah.
Because I have laid in bed when I was with him and thought about ways, like, I wonder how I can get rid of him and get away with it. Like, I was that desperate, because I don't think that if I had never left, I would not be alive. I wouldn't. I wouldn't. I know that for a fact. I know that when somebody drives you up to the top of a canyon and they're like, "We're going to Thelma and Louise you," before Thelma and Louise was even out, but no one else is going down the cliff with you. I mean, and it's just you. You start reevaluating things, and I think for me, dealing with a lot of the stuff through humor and telling my story makes it a little bit easier, because not only does it make me have to face it, something positive always comes out of something negative, and you may not even realize it until you get to be 50, 40, 30s, maybe your first marriage, maybe your first real relationship, maybe your first job position, major, you won't know it. And then all of a sudden, like, the universe just goes click, click. And like, oh, now, having said that, I have, within the past few years, have had meltdowns on my way to work, driving in. And I won't say meltdowns, like, start crying about certain situations, like going back to what you and I were saying. Like, unfortunately, there are certain things you still remember, excuse me, that you've never blocked out.
Yeah.
And I realized, as I got in my mid 50s, I never mourned that portion of my life, because no one ever allowed me that space to mourn it. I could say that in a selfish way, but what it really came down to is I didn't allow myself that space to mourn it, because I've been so busy in my life, running from things, and always, like, just keeping busy and doing this and just shoving it down, that yeah, life lesson. Deal with your shit early on. It's going to be ugly. It's going to be terrible. It could hurt you. It could wreck you. It might break you down to that one molecule, but you're going to come out there rising like a phoenix. I promise you. You just have to have faith. I stuck around longer. I stuck around less with this guy. Let's say I was with him 7 years. 3 years in, it started to get bad. The partying. Look, I've done cocaine. I didn't at first. I was like, oh yeah, I used to do that, but I'm not that cool. And I quit. No, I was trying to be cool. Look, I've done it, but I've never been. I never really felt like I had like an addictive personality. Like a party on the weekend, I'm like, all right, tap out, But for him, it was always they start stealing from you, and it's not like the material things. It's like your self-worth. Your friends are no longer in the picture anymore. They put you in a box, and so now they've got you so broken down. I feel very fortunate that I was smart enough to not be there for more than 7 years, or for 4 years in that beaten and kicked and raped. And yes, there is rape. I don't care if you're married to a motherfucker. I don't care if it's 2 girls or guys or 2 humans or 2 unicorns. Rape is rape. We are human lives. If someone is doing something against your will, whatever you want to call it, it's rape. Yeah. It's rape. That's when I realized that something, and unfortunately it took me a while, that something was wrong. No one grabs you and forces you to have any type of sexual experience. And unfortunately for me, it was like being sodomized. I've never even touched that area other than my gynecologist. And it was very traumatic, very. On the other hand, you stay with someone because, they always tell you, I'm so sorry. It's only when I this and it's only when I that. And you feel like, all right, as a fixer person, which I guess I am, I feel like I need to. Yeah, he does love me. He's just fucked up. Yeah, he does love me, but he just doesn't, he's an alcoholic. Yeah, he does love me. I found myself even his parents were like, his mom like finally saw the bruises on the fronts of my hands because we got kicked out of our place because he blew it all up his nose. Or back then, freebasing was a big thing. So I'd wake up in the middle of the night. I'd go to bed to go to my job, and I'd wake up to go to the restroom in the middle of the night. And these people are like standing in my hallway, like shooting people up and freebasing, and he's trying to shoot someone up. And I'm like, what the fuck is this? I've been through some horrific shit, but this is like this. No, this is dirty and this is gross and this is terrible. And it's just so ugly. And there's just no, you don't know until you're in that. It's just, I feel like sometimes I'm in the shower and I'm still scrubbing the dirt off of me. I'm like, oh, just, and yeah, you're just kind of like, yeah, it's time to go. And it's no different from anyone else's story. The usual, first they hit you, they hide the shit, put in places where no one can see, and then they just don't care anymore. And the parents were questioning, like, his mom knew. So then one time when I was in their home, I think they took me in. They were like my parents. Better, my parents than him. Well, now, because they would enable him and bail him out of jail, but they're like my parents. They took me in, and they knew what was going on because unbeknownst to me, when I was in the house by myself, I just started rummaging. You're talking like before social media. I'm rummaging through drawers trying to like find shit out. And here he had already been with another woman. He had a baby with this woman. I guess he had threatened to kill the baby, and was put in jail for it, and was recommended psychotherapy for anger management, like a whole fucking Pandora's box of like issues. And I was like, what the fuck? And then I got angry because I'm like, these people, this family knew this. Why I think in their head, they thought I was going to be the fixer. Yeah, the fixer. And and no one's love is good enough for addiction. I don't care what that addiction is, or narcissism, or whatever you want, sociopathism.
Yeah.
You
Can I
know.
can I ask, how were you able to escape this relationship?
Oh yeah. Well, obviously I got enough of it. Obviously I got scared because, like I said, I don't think I don't think I'd be alive. I really don't. What happened is because he would go on those benders, and I'd be like, oh yeah, fucking egg, and do whatever I want. Sometimes I would pretend. This is so. I know it sounds so corny, but you have to understand. Like in my mind, I was just trying to like. I was just a young. I think when I left, I was 24. So yeah, I was just very young. But like when he would go on these benders, sometimes I would pretend like the place was my whole house. Like it was my place, and I'd play my music, and I would do my things. And but then because he would go on these benders, how I got out. That's how I got out. I started packing up whatever little things I had left because he's ripped up. So I'm sure my high school ring is up his nose and through his system already. Like I think he stole shit and stuff.
Yeah.
And I started packing whatever I had in the back of this closet of the apartment. Now, as fortunate as it is, my father, who, sometimes I don't give enough credit to because there's a lot of unhealing there. But he was there. He was living in California at the time. And I finally went to him and said, look, Dad, I've got to get out. Dennis has beaten me. And this is kind of hard to say, but I don't think I'm going to be alive if I stay very much longer. And he was kind of like, yeah, I got you, Holmes, so as much as I say sometimes my dad's a deadbeat, I mean, he has pulled through some clench things and at clench times. So I started packing my shit up. I knew that he was the boyfriend at the time was working at an art gallery on Ventura Boulevard on Saturdays. And I called my dad and I said, Dad, come pick me up. And I took what other boxes. It was just pretty much high school paraphernalia, like pom poms, yearbooks,
Yeah.
that kind of stuff. And I just left. My dad and I packed this Mustang, and I left. And I only saw him one other time. But prior to like even deciding whether I was going to move back and me leaving, I had went back. I came home here like in November-ish for like 3 weeks on vacation to see if I wanted to change my life because I already had a job that was stable there, and or just come back home to where my friends and my family and where I grew up. So I came out here for the 3 weeks, reconnected obviously with my BFFs from kindergarten, reconnected with Mike. I mean, I've known Mike since second grade.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's how we ended up actually kind of married. So, bar night. It was the big night, the day before Thanksgiving, the evening before Thanksgiving. I don't know about you East Coasters, but for down here, it's like a big party night and everybody's out. It's like a high school reunion. So I ran into Mike. He asked me to dance with him, bought me a beer, and here we are.
Wow.
And so I know. And then I got him while I'm trying to like organize my life. He was like the first, kind of like the first one night stand I ever had in my life. And all my girlfriends like, yeah, go for it. It's Mike Miller. You'll never see him again. Ah. So it's ironic, right? It's ironic. So I see everything happens for a reason.
Yeah.
So then I came back here. My girlfriend I got a job at Wawa, working nights, which I don't know if you have Wawas up there. Yeah. So, yeah, she hooked me up. She's like, yeah. And then my friend's like, yeah, I can get you a job at my law firm. So that's how I got involved in working for law firms. I can get you a job as a file clerk or something. you know your ABCs. I'm like, yeah, shit, I'll take anything, So I like hustled 2 jobs and still continue to, look forward to seeing Mike. But yeah. So then when I moved, I went back to California, started stack like a squirrel, stacking those nuts. And when I came back from California from that vacation, my shit was like ripped apart. Like I had a high school like mug thing. I don't know what it was. Just shit was broken, smashed. And of course, it was all left out for me to see it. Clothes torn apart. Like I had no clothes. When I came back home to restart my life, per se, my mom, who was friends with an attorney, that attorney actually gave me some of her old clothes. So I had like shit to wear to work because this motherfucker just tore it apart.
But I'm happy. It sounded like
Yeah.
it sounded like right after all this that the
Yeah.
life that you're living today, was all starting to come together.
It's weird.
Yeah. It's really weird.
It's just weird. Yeah. And we all have them throughout our lifetimes. I mean, that's what makes us grow and learn as human beings, are these epiphanies or light bulb moments. But yeah, I'm just out here to say, look, deal with your shit. As traumatic and as horrific as it can be, you have 2 options. And look, my mom kicking me out because she's like, oh, you're 18 now. I've raised you enough. It's your dad's turn. Kicking me out and having to move to California, really in hindsight, was a blessing because I would not be the person I am today or have the balls that I do today. So, because you move to California, you either like move with a crowd or you're going to get stepped on. I'm sure it's the same for you in Boston. It's the city. You either go or you either flow or go. Everything puts you. I think everything puts you on the right trajectory. I really do. I know it sounds really hokey. I'm not a religious person, but
no,
I'm a very spiritual.
That's my motto. That everything happens for a reason. Definitely.
Yeah.
Let me. I do want to say thank you for sharing. Such a personal story, and I had 2 more. I had 2 more quick little questions for you to wrap things up because I like to also ask this question. And it doesn't have to be related to everything that you just said prior, but what is one of the most important lessons you learned in life?
I actually wrote this down because I realized that you're only responsible for you and no one else. You cannot rely on anyone. You can't rely on, yes, you can rely on your friends and your family and all that. But at the end of the day, if you really, truly, what you need to do is be 100 with yourself because you will find one day there may only be you to rely on to get you out of a deep, dark mess like I was in. So remember that. Remember that. Yeah.
I agree with that.
I mean, there's, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I'm assuming too, as you get older, and more people, you lose to, for whatever reasons, death or anything. It's like you have to, you have to take care of you. You don't have like your parents eventually and you have to take care of yourself.
Yeah. I don't know how, I don't know how people be like, I know some people just fall down and crumble. Like, because they're like, well, this didn't happen and that didn't happen. No. I tell my kids all the time, well, whatever. Joe Blow didn't email me back. Well, did you email? Did you do this? Did you do that? No, you didn't. You've got to be responsible. I'm just teaching my kids this because, well, not so much my daughter, but my son as a young adult. You got to be responsible for you. Cover your ass. Make sure you got your shit together. The only other thing I can say that I am going to tell you that was very hard for me is that, and it's very Martin Luther King and with all those things that go out there, is that if you see someone doing something wrong, you have to have enough balls to stand up for the truth, knowing that even though you may have 3 people over here saying, hey, yo, we got you, Holmes. No, they ain't going to have you. You're going to be standing there alone sometimes. You may, but you're going to be standing there alone sometimes. And you know what? That's okay, because when you go to bed at night, The truth is the truth. And don't ever try to prove that. Don't ever try to prove your truth to anyone. If someone says, well, blah, blah, no, because you know why? Truth always comes out in the end. Always. Always. And it's not the legal part of me talking. It always does.
Yeah.
I used to be really, again, as an empath, as a caring soul, as a giver, like, no, I would never do that to you, blah, blah, blah. But then after a while, maybe it comes with age. Fuck it. Whatever you think. I don't care. I'm dyeing my hair orange next week. Fuck you. Like, because you know why? Social media actually kind of taught me that, because one time my husband and I, we've been together for quite a long time. And yes, there was a little portion of our marriage where we were not really, we were separated mentally from one another. And some people knew this. And then, of course, some people told some other people, and so on and so on, that didn't really know me. And they saw a picture of my anniversary picture, which is the same one that I've had since 1995. And they went and told everyone, like, oh my God, did you see Pam got like remarried? I'm like, what the fuck? Oh, yeah. So don't ever be, and I wasn't going to go out there like, no, it's the same. No, fuck that. It's the same thing I've been married to. Well, I mean, thing, but same badass I've been married to.
Yeah, no, you definitely. It's definitely a lesson that takes some of us a while to learn. But yeah, you can't care too
No,
deeply about, especially about what strangers think of you or people
no.
close at all.
Yeah. I think for you guys of a generation, because social media is there, it is very lovely and nice that there are so many outlets geared towards so many different types of people and personalities and beliefs and what have you. When it comes to like putting up your wedding pictures, and people who don't know you, sometimes it's your demise. Like, I'm hoping, like, I make jokes about the millennials, but I don't really mean them I don't mean them in a derogatory sense.
Yeah.
But we know, like, even the millennials, like, Jesus Christ, like, you're fucking 50. You're going to get out of your parents' basement? I didn't get a trophy one year. I'm okay. And I'm okay. But the millennials get a bad rap. If it wasn't for the millennials, we wouldn't be where we're at today, and it's brought a lot of good.
I think every generation, they kind of have their ups
Yeah.
and their positives and their
Ah,
negatives.
oh yeah. We
Yeah.
have we have some losers. I might even be it. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, with
We have
with social media and everything, I mean, I think it really started getting big when I was in like junior high, just entering high school
yeah.
at most. And yeah, I mean, to put that in our hands, we're like, what the fuck is this? What do we do with
Yeah.
this? And people
Yeah.
just went, and that's why I think it is the way it is now, because we just kind of did whatever we thought we were
Yeah.
supposed to do and whatever. And
Oh.
there's definitely a lot of useless stuff.
Like, do you ever see your Facebook memories come back and you're like, oh my
uh
God, I can't even believe, oh, Pam's getting on the treadmill. Who the fuck cares? How stupid. But that's what everybody else was doing.
yeah.
I thought that's what I was supposed to do. And I feel like such a hypocrite, because now I'm like a huge advocate. Like, these people are like, look, I want to track their like fitness and their diets and all this stuff. That's fine. But there's a fine line with that. Like for me, that just seems like another job for me to do. I don't need to track my shit. I know how fucking badass I am. I know what I fucking ate.
No,
I don't need to be feeling guilty about it later on when I fucking read this shit.
no, I would look back. I was the type of guy, and I mean, in general, I'm
Yeah.
someone that I just do it. I don't even like say it. I'll just try not to use
Yeah.
social media as much, but I would see statuses and it'd be like, oh, get off social media, don't use social media. But I'm
Yeah.
posting on social media.
Yes. Yes. That's why, like, that's the other part of me, why it's taken me so long to do a podcast, because I am on social media, but I'm really not. And I really prefer, like, I just need to have a couple dimensions. I just need a couple avenues. Like, I know I have something on the iTunes, or no, I don't know. I don't even know, Anchor or something.
Oh yeah.
But then I found myself, like, I'm trying to, like, you know, you're almost like a people pleaser. Now I gotta like please all these people. I gotta please them on here. I got to please them on there. I'm like, I
Yeah.
just want to do what the fuck I'm going to do. I'm going to hold up a sign that says episode 1, but it's really 55. Yeah.
I just want to wrap up with
Yeah, that's okay.
they're gonna also be in the description of the episodes. But what are your social media links that you want us to follow
Okay.
you on, or any websites or anything like that to check out?
Yeah. You could just look me up on YouTube,
Okay.
Miller Time 24/7. I don't
Okay.
have the actual link in front of me or anything, but if you actually go to my Instagram, which is Miller Time 24/7, the YouTube link is in there.
Hello, Past Frank here. I hope you enjoyed this week's episode. If you did, make sure you subscribe to the show on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or any of your favorite platforms. Also, make sure to follow the Instagram page, Frank Podcast. That's where I post the most about the podcast. I want to thank this week's guest for guest starring. It means so much. I want to thank my executive producer, Monica Leigh. I want to thank producers Alexa H. and Rebecca R. And I want to thank each and every one of you guys for listening, for watching, for subscribing, for sharing, commenting, all that good stuff. Thank you so much. Make sure that you go buy some merch, make everyone jealous. If you'd like to become a producer of the show, just go to the Buy Me a Coffee link in the show notes. I hope you have a super special, awesome day, and bye.